in order to do what you plan to do, we need the following. Service. Friendly service, well-trained, and must have language skill. You have to have uniqueness in clothing, in facilities, and product associated with Jeju. Entertainment, that's another part. There's absolutely no entertainment here in Jeju. In United States, I can think of a place called Hawaii. Most of you know there. But Hawaii was known to the world by the great singing of Don Ho. Many of you may remember who Don Ho was. For those you don't remember Don Ho, you probably remember Elvis Presley. He also sang there and got his start. So how do you get to the 7.5-day destination? And you must give them the feeling a week was not enough to do all things that are in Jeju. And somehow they have to think they need to come back again. Because if Jeju is only a destination for once in your lifetime, you don't have a repeat business. A master vision is needed. Master plan is needed. All of that plan must be based on 7.5 days in unique Jeju experience. And it cannot be done by governor. It cannot be done by the government. It can only be done by people of Jeju. You may not have enough people in Jeju. You may have to open up Jeju to outsiders, as you have done to the advisors that are from others. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Spencer. Now, since you have been waiting for your thought, you were given more time. That's your boon. And now our final speaker is Alan Timberlake. Mr. Timberlake, he can speak better Korean than myself and many people around this table. So, Mr. Timberlake.
너무 기대하지 마세요. I still speak better English than I do Korean, and in view that we still have some time constraint, I speak more rapidly in English than I do in Korean. Governor Wu, like my colleagues around the table, I wish to congratulate you very sincerely on your broad-mindedness and your vision in inviting members such as we are to your international advisory group. My personal experience has been that this is my 8th year working in the public sector in Korea. So if you like, I'm a kind of Korean civil servant myself. And I see more and more, both in the public sector and in the private sector, of cooperation with non-Koreans and Koreans working in the same direction and, in fact, enhancing the quality of the recommendations that are made as a result of this international wide base. In fact, it is effective. My first job in the public sector was to attract foreign investment into Korea as the first head of Invest Korea. And in the first year of my term of office, foreign investment into Korea doubled from the previous year, and it has remained pretty well at the same level ever since. So one can achieve breakthrough through this type of cooperation. I have, like my colleague Spencer Kim, a practical suggestion to make, and I'm going to go to that directly in view of the still maybe shortness of time. We've succeeded, and the organizers have succeeded in putting together the last 2 or 3 days a very wide-ranging conference which involved bringing people into the island of Jeju from all parts of the world, including, of course, the mainland. But from a logistical point of view, we've all come through that same bottleneck. We've all come through, like a funnel, through the airport at Jeju-si. And we've all had, as Spencer just said, a fairly long drive to the hotel. There is only one airport, one international airport at the moment. Now, I don't know, maybe your plans include the creation of a second airport towards the south of the island, but as a practical step, I think this would make a huge difference. 2 years ago, a group of expatriates in Seoul, we were trying to attract an international membership to one of your golf clubs here in order to create a really international membership style of club. And we plan to persuade some 200 people, non-Koreans, to join this club. It was a very, very difficult task, and in the end, we didn't achieve our objectives. One of the reasons was, over and over again, people said, I cannot get an air ticket to Jeju because the planes are all booked. And also, when I arrive, it's going to take me 40 to 50 minutes to get to my destination. So as a practical step, I think an extra airport would make a huge amount of difference. I was very astonished to learn, in fact, that it's closer to fly from here to Shanghai than it is from here to Seoul. So our colleague from China, Chairman Jiang, is quite right in saying, here is a wonderful opportunity. But following the theme of comparing China and Chinese attitudes, the experience in Korea is very much related to short-term and rapid progress. And in Korea, perhaps 10 years is the equivalent of a lifetime in another society and another country, because the progress has been so rapid. But associated with this rapid and short-termism is a price, and not enough thought is given to longer-term planning. I was delighted to hear, Governor, in your speech that you said we need to have a vision of Jeju 100 years from now. And I would say not just 100, we should think even longer, when the children that we see here today are our grandparents or maybe their grandchildren are here. And there again, Chairman Jiang, I was delighted to hear your initiative in providing architecture, which you've promised is going to last for 100 years. In Korea, we still think that buildings which are 20 years old are already too old, and we do not build for the long-term future. So if you are planning the future of Jeju, I would urge that you look at building standards, you look at architectural standards, you look at the aesthetic standards. There are some wonderful examples of local architecture. It is very modest, it is very picturesque, but there are themes that can be adopted from this which will make Jeju and continue to make Jeju unique. And this, I think, follows very much the theme that we've used today, the uniqueness of the island. Finally, in terms of international and non-tourist related activities, this, I know, is the 6th Forum for Peace and Prosperity in Jeju. If we look at the international dimension and the political dimension, we could go back to the visit of former Chairman Gorbachev to Korea, where he met with former President Roh Tae-woo, in a wonderful diplomatic breakthrough, which resulted, in fact, in one of the big cracks in the Cold War and resulted in a new era of cooperation with Russia and with the ex-Soviet bloc. So let's continue along that theme, and let's look forward to the year 21,011, a long time ahead perhaps. But then perhaps we will still see the annual Jeju International Peace and Prosperity Forum, where world leaders convene every year to push forward progress in issues such as regional security, human rights, religious freedom. Perhaps we'll see the Jeju Festival of Digital Drama, where experts in the performing arts are combined together in a virtual global performance of music and drama, broadcast and live streamed across the globe, and maybe even to human galactic settlements. The Jeju University of Asian Architecture, a mecca for urban planners and scholars in human habitation design and civic architecture. And of course, and this follows a theme very much in your speech already, the Jeju Institute of Renewable Energy, a center of learning and practice in developing new and sustainable means of harnessing the Earth's natural energy sources: thermal, tidal, solar, wind, hydro, volcanic, seismic, and more, and much, much more. I think we're in good hands. We here, members of the advisory group, are here to help. 앞으로 열심히 일하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Alan, for your inspiring suggestion. With this, perhaps we will have to conclude our discussion. But before doing so, I'd like to emphasize that what has been said at this first ever board meeting has been quite thoughtful suggestions. And the question is how we are going to translate these suggestions and proposals into action and reality. As we all know, if one does not have the dream or the vision, then we are not going to achieve anything in the future. We highly appreciate that Governor Wu has come up with this new vision for Jeju Island for the next 10 years or 100 years even. And therefore, what we will have to do for Jeju Island as a whole, of course, we, the advisory board, will do our part of the job. But for the future, this is not the governor's job or task alone. Governor cannot do it alone. And therefore, I will have to emphasize the Jeju province as a whole to make their part of effort to support and to push what Governor Wu is going to do in the future. Only with this we can achieve the intended goal for the future. But at the same time, we need to build up more infrastructure here, legally and otherwise. Some infrastructures have been already laid out to meet the need, but I think we need to do more. That has to do for the future. Another item that I like to emphasize, the catchphrase here, world to Jeju and Jeju to world, that's good. But we will have to let the world know that there is a certain island in Korea which deserves their attention, which is good to be used for any purpose, for education, for healthcare, and so forth. Therefore, what the island has to do in the future is to let the city be known in the world. And for that purpose, you have to make a rather aggressive PR effort in the future. Lastly, what we have discussed here, a lot of discussion has been focused on how to achieve prosperity and peace and prosperity. And yet, maybe since the focus of attention has been shifted to Asia in terms of economic growth and prosperity, and yet still we do not have enough peace on this part of the region. And therefore, peace, we will have to make our further effort to achieve the peace here in this particular island. Peace is quite a strange commodity, which is always in short supply. So I suggest that we will have to make more effort to achieve the peace here. This morning, over the luncheon, former Foreign Minister Yu said very interesting comment, and that is that here in this Jeju Island, many honeymooners come and they conceive their children. Maybe quite many of Korean population has been conceived here in this particular island. Now, that's for human being. But what he suggested further was that we will have to make this island a conception center for ideas. conception center for futures, conception center for creative thinking, so that the intended goal of this island will be achieved, and also we can contribute to the maintenance of peace, prosperity, and security at this particular region. With this comment, I suggest that we will have to adjourn our discussions for the moment. I just wanted to ask if you have any further suggestions or additional comment to make. Yes, Spencer.
Ambassador Lee, may I suggest that we ask or give the young people the opportunity to either make a statement or ask question?
지금 스펜서 김 회장님의 말씀대로 우리 방청석에서 혹시 질문을 하시거나 우리 어드바이저리 보드의 토의 내용을 보시고 말씀하실 사항이 있으면 해주시면 좋겠습니다. 예, 저 뒤에 계시는 분 성명을 밝혀주시고 말씀을 해주시면 감사하겠습니다.
안녕하세요. 저는 유원이라고 하는 제주 도민이고요. Thanks very much for the opportunity again. And well, I was out. It was worth risking 2 sessions attending that I had to give up the miss, which was the 2:00 session. What Steinem, the women movement. I risked to be here, and then it was worthwhile to attend this committee, and it was really touching discussion, and I really appreciate your opinions. But at the same time, what I would like to suggest is that that if these full contents of the discussions of this committee could be delivered to the very local level as individual citizens like myself. There are over 500,000 population living on this island. Yet when we hear about these policies as what government is trying to do, what the system structure is trying to do, but not as an individual, local citizens movement or actions, their duties, and whatsoever. So if I could be revealed to these policies and discussions at my level and in the civilian level, that I would really be able to participate and act together with the government to see the prosperity of 100 years afterwards, and to inherit my Jeju to my daughter and granddaughter with one designated model to, following that suggestion, whether Jeju is taking up to be like Geneva or the Hawaiian type, or do we want to go the direction of Hainan or Singapore or Hong Kong? Whichever direction will be decided, that I would like to participate in. And with that certainty that I would like to really inherit this island down to my granddaughter. But I would be very hesitated to hear this as a policy of government, but what I should be participating and act together with the government level, from now on. And thanks very much for your really valuable opinions, and I look forward to see more of your discussions and more of your visitations to Jeju and your opinions for the people of Jeju. Thanks very much.
우선 유원희 선생님 감사합니다. 실은 이번 포럼에 다양하게 섹션을 짰습니다. 전에는 22섹션인가 한데 이번에 64섹션으로 이렇게 늙혀서 도민들께서 다양하게 참석을 할 수 있도록 이렇게 했습니다. 아마 다른 섹션에도 참석을 하셨으리라고 믿는데 오늘은 우리 고문단에서 여러 가지 의견들을 주셨습니다. 그래서 제가 지금 그냥 앞으로 이번 포럼 후에 이 성과는 무엇이고 우리가 앞으로 고쳐야 될 건 무엇이고 앞으로 어떠한 것을 포함시켜야 될 것인지를 빠른 시일 내에 저희가 평가를 좀 하려고 합니다. 그래서 앞으로 어떤 분야를 참여를 시킬 것이고 날짜를 고정시킬 것인지 하는 것까지를 검토를 하려고 합니다. 그리고 이러한 포럼이 정말 그 도민들에게 그리고 우리 제주도를 알리는 세계에 크게 도움이 되겠다고 판단이 되면 상설 기구를 다보스 포럼 같이 그런 생각도 좀 하고 있습니다. 아까도 다른 고모님께서 말씀을 해주셨지만 이 다보스 포럼의 성장 과정, 보아오 포럼이 그 하이난도 섬을 정말 세계적인 관광지로 만들기 위해서 중국 정부에서 보아오 포럼을 키우고 있습니다. 지원을 엄청나게 하고 있습니다. 그러듯이 이 제주도가 국제적인 관광지로 키우려 그러면 청와대에서부터 불편에도 참석을 해줘야 됩니다. 그리고 제주도를 세계적인 관광지로 만드는데 지원을 해야 합니다. 어제는 국무총리님께서 바쁘신데도 다녀가셨지만 이러한 정책적인 배려가 없이는 이 포럼이 그렇게 커질 수가 없다 하는 생각과 문제점을 제가 이미 알고 있기 때문에 그러한 것들을 키워나가겠다고 하는 말씀을 드리고 또 많은 참여가 필요하기 때문에 저는 앞으로 이 세계적인 대중문화의 예술가, 영화 배우, 영화 감독 이러한 분들이 참여를 해서 이러한 사람들이 지역사회나 세계에 기여할 게 무엇인지를 하면 포럼도 더 빨리 커지지 않겠는가 하는 생각도 해봅니다. 그래서 오늘 우리 고모님들께서도 좋은 의견을 주셨고 지금 앉아 계시는 그 방청객도 좋은 생각들을 아까 우리 유원희 선생 같이 갖고 계실 거기 때문에 저희 그 도청에 의견들을 많이 주시면 빠른 시일 내에 이 날짜도 고정시키고 어떠한 내용들을 포함시킬 것인지를 연구해 나가도록 그렇게 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you all for joining us today. With this, perhaps we will have to conclude our discussions. Thank you all.